Georgia man, this man you're looking at right here, is actually going to prison for 25 years after he shot his girlfriend in the head and then lied to her about it. Now, here's the thing, she knew she was hurt, but she didn't actually know he had shot her in the head for a month. That sounds crazy, but I get what happened here. Let me break it down, all right? So a woman and her ex-boyfriend were arguing in her car 2 years ago when her driver's side window shattered and she blacked out. When she came to, she was in his car, not hers, and they went to his mother's house because she had a head wound. Now she says he told her that she had crashed her car and then been hit in the head with flying glass. All right, so for a month after the shooting in 2017, the woman stayed at her boyfriend, Jerrontae Cain, that's his name, at his mother's house, suffering through severe headaches, dealing with memory loss, and having trouble when she tried to talk. This is all according to the district attorney's office. Doctors, when she got to the hospital, doctors found a bullet lodged in the back of her head, and a bullet that they actually cannot remove or it could kill her. Once she explained what she thought happened, police went and investigated. They checked out the crime scene and realized it didn't match up. It didn't match up to the story that her boyfriend had told her. They issued an arrest warrant, but Cain actually wasn't caught until January of 2019. That's more than a year later. And police actually showed up at a home in College Park, just south of Atlanta. He hid in an attic, and there was a 2-hour standoff until he surrendered.
So when I was a kid, I played football, and then in college I played rugby, and I fancied myself a tough guy. And we used to have stupid sayings like, you get hurt and the coach would tell you, just spit on it, you'll be all right. To this day, I don't know what that means. No, this woman's tough. Yeah. She got shot in the head and walked it off, right? So that's amazing. It's an amazing story. I'm also blown away by the fact that in this day and age, it took them over a year to catch him. Like there's cameras everywhere. You can trace the credit cards. You can trace the ATM. Like it turns out those TV shows are BS, right? Yeah. And no, but it's in all seriousness, it matters who it is, right? And if they think the victim's not that important, they're not gonna go through a lot of effort. If he had shot someone wealthy in the head, my guess is they would have been like CSIing that thing right away and gotten him right away. That's my take on it.
It just adds such another layer to be afraid of when you're dating, to be like, is he gonna pay? Is he gonna do the dishes? Is he gonna shoot me in the head and then say we got in a car accident instead? Like this guy is such a schemer. I think that's probably why he didn't get caught for a year, is he was able to create this elaborate story that made her think they had been in a car accident. I wanna know if the mom is in on it, while she was like nursing her back to health. Right. I'm so dramatic and so annoying that when I have a paper cut, it is like an issue. So to have a bullet in my head that could never come out, I'd be like, I want everything done for me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's so much about this. I think when I was reading the comments on Twitter, a lot of people were like, what, I don't believe this, there's no way, why wouldn't you go to the hospital? Well, first, she knew she was hurt.
Yeah.
So that's one, she knew she was hurt. And people who have health insurance, don't, and I don't know if this woman didn't, but I know why I think that I believe why she tried to just deal with it for a month.
Great
because
point.
People who have health insurance don't realize how often people who don't tough it out or deal with it or try to handle it at home. People don't call the ambulance. I was telling a story this morning in the meeting. When I was 8 years old, it was just me and my grandma, who was in her late 70s, I think at the time, or early 80s. She fell, and we later found out that she broke her ribs. So that's just to tell you how much pain she was in.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me call 911 because we couldn't afford an ambulance ride to the hospital. I called 3 of my uncles, none of them were home. It was before cell phones, and I ended up having to look through the phone book to find the neighbor's number, and he came and drove us to the hospital. So my grandma's ribs were broken and she didn't want to call 911. She didn't want to ride in an ambulance because we couldn't afford that. So I totally understand how it's possible that this woman would be like, okay, I know my head is cut. I know it's hurt. I'm not dead. So let's clean it every day. Let's do this. Let's try to put gauze on it. Let's figure it out and see if I'm fine in a week. Let's see, like anything but to go to the hospital. You've got your boyfriend and his mother saying, you'll be okay, we'll take care of you. It was just glass, we got it out of there. And you potentially couldn't afford to go to the hospital, so you don't until a month later you realize you cannot live like this.
Compounded by the fact that women, especially women of color, are not believed by doctors most of the time. Serena Williams, who is One of the most famous women in the world wrote about how she almost died after giving birth to her daughter because doctors did not believe that her blood clot condition was as bad as it was. So even if you go to the hospital and are like, this is what's happening, they may just be like, yeah, you have a migraine, you have a headache, I'm sure it's not time of the month, and send you on your way.
Yeah, look, those are great points. And Brooke, I hadn't thought of the insurance point, and that's great. Look, to give you some facts behind that, the average American it has to pay about $20,000 a year in health insurance. Now, their employer usually pays a big chunk of that, but that still comes out of your salary anyway.
Right.
And you have to pay $6,000 of it yourself. That's an amazing amount. And there's oftentimes deductibles, and deductibles on average for a worker is about $1,300. So if you had a $1,300 deductible, that means the minute you go to the hospital, you lost $1,300. The first visit is $1,300 because that's your deductible. So even if you got shot in the head, and if you live outside of America, you live in Northern Europe or Canada or Japan, et cetera, you must be thinking, what an insane country America is. That you're worried about going to the hospital, even though you have these severe headaches, you can't walk, you know there's something deeply wrong with you because you can't afford it. Countries that have single payer can't believe we do this to our own citizens. Right. So that's why it's an amazing story on many counts. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.